How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of SevTech Ages. Today we are taking a trip on over to Uranus, so to do that we need to research our other schematic that we unlocked last episode, and we also need to put the rocket together here. So I've got all the parts, let me just do one of these, one of those, and that is going to be our Tier 6 rocket done. So let's plop this bad boy over on our charging pad, or launch pad, and while it's doing that, let's go ahead and break this guy and grab a couple more from here. Well, actually, maybe not that one just yet, but we are going to take this, and we're going to take that front section off, and we need one of these guys to do this, so let me get that. Did I get the cable? I did get the cable back. Okay, cool. And now we should be able to craft directly from our system, which we can indeed. I think I might also have the manilium laying around in the system right now to craft this guy together. Which we might. Hold on, let me see. We are missing these guys, which we might have in the system as well, which we don't. Where did I put that stuff? I know I have it. I might actually have to process through a little bit more of the quartz because it doesn't seem like I have any laying around. So for right now, that's fine. We're going to leave it alone. We'll get to that in a little bit here. But the rocket is hopefully charged up by now, so we can take off. I'm really hoping that our current gear is actually able to handle the atmosphere on this planet. We also need to slow down because we are coming in pretty hot. And if I could... There we go. Okay, cool. We're landing on an island, and it looks like maybe all that stuff out there is ice, so we might have been okay landing out there as well. But we're not taking any damage. That's great. And for right now, I'm actually not going to break this for 2 seconds because I want to put together our portal and then come back with some of the empty fuel cells and see if we're able to take that out of there. Well, let's see if this actually works. So, yep, cool. Okay, so we can stop wasting so much fuel. That is fantastic. And that can get out of here now. Let me go ahead and light up the area a little bit so that we don't have a bunch of stuff trying to hit us when we teleport around. But this planet looks pretty cool. I did, however, think there was going to be storms and stuff happening because when we were looking at it on this thing, it says that we have storms. Or actually, you know what? Never mind. I might have mistook that. I saw the corrosive atmosphere, and the last two that have had that, we've had the annoying storms all the time. So I guess we don't have that here. But anyways, let me light up the area, and then we can start running around trying to find our next dungeon, which is then going to give us our next schematic here. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have to fight here on Uranus. We've got an evolved, I can't see what that says, evolved slime ice boss, or evolved ice slime boss. Oh man, I can't read, huh? And is this something we can just damage? It is indeed. It has no texture from what I can tell, unless that's what it's supposed to look like. It's just a big white blob. That's kind of cool. Okay. Anyways, this should be dead here in 2 seconds, and we should have the schematic as well, since, again, I don't think there's anything else we need to unlock schematic-wise. Well, I think the room is a little bit wider than normal, but other than that, I think everything else is the same here. So let's see. We got the schematic. We got a Tier 7 rocket. That's exactly what we came here for. That is awesome. I think there's also going to be a new ore type, so let me try and figure out what we need to get from here as well. Alrighty, well, it looks like we're going to be strip mining for a little while for the crystal ore that is on this planet. So let me go back to the portal. Our jetpack is a little low. Hopefully we don't run out of power, though. I'm going to go back to our portal and go down and strip mine like usual here. Actually, before I get to strip mining anything, there is one item that I want to craft up here. So to do that, we are going to need 2 blocks of the void crystals. So let me go ahead and go back to base. Please don't die. Okay. Glad I didn't get like slingshotted between the 2 cables there. That would have been really annoying. So let's turn both of these into the full blocks. And what we want to make is a traveler sack, which we are missing a chest, and that's fine. So let me plop that there. And then with that, we can then turn that into the void sack. So I want to do one of those because all of the stuff that we're getting from these planets is kind of annoying after a certain point. So instead of bringing it back to base, at this point, I've just been chucking it on the ground and waiting for it to despawn while I'm strip mining. So I need to make one last thing. Let's also unlock that schematic so I don't have it just hanging out in a chest. But we need to make a couple of filters. Maybe a couple. For right now, we're just going to do one. So let's do that. And also, I completely forgot, but every time we harvest any quartz that is in the deposits here on the overworld, we are getting the black quartz as well. So last episode, or the episode before that, I went back to the beneath and farmed up a bunch of quartz, but we really didn't need to. We had 300 over here just hanging out, which was realized well after the fact there. But now that we have that, cool. And with the filter, we can set a bunch of stuff in it. And then when we plop it in here, we can have it either grab those items or we can set it to void those items, which is what we are going to be using this thing for. So let me jump back over to Uranus, where we just were, and start strip mining. And hopefully it doesn't take as long as it usually does, because I keep having my inventory clog up, then I drop everything and rinse and repeat until we have enough of the items required to craft up the things that we want. Well, I'm not quite done strip mining Uranus for the resources that we need, but we do have a little bit of it built up right now. But what I want to do real quick before we head back over there and finish gathering the resources is craft up a couple more items. So the void sack that we just made is speeding up the process tremendously. It's great not having the inventory clogging over and over again. But what I want to grab is a magnet. So to do that, we're going to have to atomic reconstructor a couple items here. So some iron and some of the redstone, and then we can get one of those put together. But I also want to get one of these put together as well. There's also a vertical one. We're going to do the horizontal one right now because I only have one slot available on our hammer. So in order to craft this, we need purple slime, and the only way to get purple slime in this pack right now is to either void mine for the sapling, which we're not going to do right now, or we can produce the slime through one of the mixers here. So we're going to get this thing up and running. That's what we just built. And while we're here grabbing the other stuff, let's go ahead and get this thing crafted, and that should be our magnet. Now, hopefully we can plop it in here and have it charge up. That would be, of course, not going to work. Okay. I got to figure out where to charge that then, because that's the only power thing that we have that charges. No, don't do that. Okay, that was a mistake. Well, hopefully this works, and that should drain out into our smeltery. It did indeed. Cool. So now we take that back off, and we plop this guy onto there, and this should turn into slime balls, hopefully. We only need one. But if we can make multiples, which I think we can, yeah, it's 250 a ball. So we should get 4 of them from this. So let's throw the modifier onto our tool here. So when we level this up again, we can either maybe add another one of these or add the vertical one as well. That way we don't have to continue to vein mine as much, because vein mining is just tearing through the food that we have right now, which luckily enough, I have my little infrastructure set up now to actually be able to produce food, but I would like to not be tearing through stacks upon stacks of food every time I'm trying to vein mine. So now that we have this, it should do, I think, a 4x4, maybe a 5x5. I'm not really sure. But before we head back, let's go ahead and craft up this thing. We might be able to charge this with it. There's also an advancement for it, although it didn't pop. I could have sworn there's an advancement for this. Is there not? Oh, there's one for the final stage. Okay, so there's the tier 1. Let's get the tier 2, which we need that thing, which is already in there. So let's plop that over there. There we go. And then we can very quickly craft up the final tier and plop that in there as well. And there's our advancement. And I think, hopefully this has a UI. We can plug it into the system here as well and ideally have it charge our stuff. Awesome, there we go. We got it fully charged up. There's also another one that we can make, which is the wireless charger, which honestly kind of seems like something we want to make, because if we can just walk in here and have our spacesuit as well as our magnet and stuff getting charged up while we refill our oxygen tanks or something, that would be great. All right, there we go. We got it working. So that's one less thing we have to do every time we come back to base. So now that we have everything back on and good to go, I'm going to go teleport back and see how big of an area this thing's actually harvesting now. And it looks like we're going to be doing a 5 wide area. So that is awesome. It's going to speed up the whole process here. We can just run through holding down our mine key instead of having to use our food over and over again with the vein mine. So I'm going to really enjoy that. But let me go ahead and harvest for a little while, get a couple more stacks of this stuff built up, and then we will get our tier 7 rocket put together today to go take a look at Neptune and hopefully complete that last little advancement that we need so that we can start messing with the mystical agriculture stuff. Well, having the magnet and the void sack made gathering up all the resources here very, very quick, so that's real nice. And I also went ahead and crafted up one of the batteries because we were going through the charge on our magnet ring very quickly, so this thing keeps us charged up pretty nicely, as well as all of our spacesuit stuff as well, so that's nice. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and process through all of the crystal ore that we have and see whether or not I need to go back to any of the other planets to see if I need to gather up any more of the metals from there as well. But if not, then we will have a rocket in 2 seconds here. Well, it turns out I had to go back to Mercury to collect a little bit more of the metal from there, but we have everything ready to go now, so let's craft up the tier 7 rockets. And there we go, nice. So while this thing charges up with fuel, I am going to actually start crafting up the next thing that we're going to need, which is the Empowerer. So yeah, that's running. I got to go over to our factory. We have the little atomic reconstructor over there. So what we're going to need this thing to do is to craft up some of the quartz that we're going to need, which is the etched quartz, which we get by shooting it with this. And I don't think it did all 30. Oh, it did all 32 of them. Cool. So that actually didn't take too long. I have some of the pipes getting squished down into what we need. And we're also going to have to process through some copper as well, because we're going to need the cabling, because we need 5 of these things, which require these guys, which I don't have the wire right now. So I need to very quickly throw some of that together, and that should be the only thing we're missing. Well, we actually need to shoot another set of quartz here, because I thought we only needed one, but we need the green ones as well, which is just chiseled quartz shot with a laser there. So now we should have everything ready to go here. We can get the Empowerer in motion, and our rocket should be just about fully fueled here. Well, I should have everything ready to be crafted here. We're going to need 5 of the display ports, or display stands. So let me just do that real quick, because it's not going to let me craft 5 at once. And there we go. So let me get those back out. And then one of these has to get turned into the Empowerer. So we should have everything except for the battery, actually. So let me get one of those put together, and then I think the only thing we change is this. Nope, that's not it. Never mind. Hold on 1 second. There we go. I almost had the recipe correct, but there we go. Now we have that made. Let's go ahead and craft up the final stage of the thing, and that should be our Empowerer all ready to go, which for right now we're not going to place down because we need to plug it into our power system, and I don't really want to do that right now. So let's actually take a trip on over to Neptune, and it looks like we're coming down right on top of an island, so we don't have to actually steer this time, which is nice. Alrighty, well anyways, we are here on Neptune, so now comes the fun part of running around until we find a dungeon. So give me just a moment here. Well, let's see what this boss is. Oh, it's a giant snowman. That's cool. Okay. That might be the coolest. I thought it instantly died when it touched us, but it did not. So I'm trying to light it up a little bit, but it doesn't seem like our wand wants to cooperate here. So let's just kill this guy. And it looks like we can just do damage with our stars to the body. Okay. So it'll take a couple seconds here, and then we can get our next stage rocket, which I guess we really don't need the next stage of rockets, because I don't think we're going any further in Galacticraft, because all we need is the prosperity shards. So we might build out the rocket, we might not. I'm not really sure, but I do need to get the shards going, so that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on right now. Anyways, though, let's go ahead and grab the schematic for a tier 8 rocket. Nice. Well, before we start strip mining, we might as well research the schematic for the tier 8 rocket, and we also want to complete one of the advancements as well, which we haven't done yet, which I thought we got done, but it doesn't look like it triggered, so maybe I didn't actually touch the right thing. But we want to go ahead and grab some surface rock. So apparently this blue stuff isn't surface rock, and let's see if the lighter blue stuff is. That's green rock, that is light blue, this is surface rock. Okay, cool, that's what we want. So there's our advancement. I'm gonna go ahead and strip mine for a little while, like I said, and hopefully we can get some of these shards going to get mystical agriculture up and running today. Okay, well, we got a bit of the ore, and I don't think we're gonna have to get any more for the time being, because I didn't realize it, but this breaks down into 4 of the shards per ore. So right now we need to do 2 of these recipes, because what I'm going to do is actually beeline the crafting crystals. So this thing should last us for 1,000 recipes, and then we can make this one, which shouldn't break ever again. So that's what we're going to try and beeline right now. So to do that, we are going to need actually 2 of these things right over here. So these should be the only thing we're missing. And we are missing an Eye of Ender and a gas tier. So that's fine. I should be able to jump into the nether real quick and grab another one of the tiers, and then we should have the secondary thing craftable. But right now, let's go ahead and just craft one, I guess, and that should hopefully be fine. So that goes there, these guys go there, and then this goes on the outside, I think, right? Hold on. Nope, that's not apparently what we do. We have the inferium on the outside. Okay, my bad. That goes there, that goes there. And that's going to fuse into one set of the prosperity shards for us. There we go. That should be 4 of them, and it is indeed nice. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get another gas tier because that's all we're missing. All right, well, we have all of the prosperity shards here, so let's go ahead and craft up our first crafting crystal here. And hopefully, again, this is going to last us all the way through to being able to craft up the unbreakable one. But with this thing here, we want to start crafting up the tiers of essence. So we are going to need probably like 4 stacks of inferium to make a stack of this, and then that's going to go into making the orange stuff, and then the orange stuff's into the blue stuff, and so on and so forth here. So it's going to be kind of the same thing over and over and over again here, but let's do that, and we probably can just shift click in. Nope, it didn't shift click all the stuff in. Why did it not do that? Okay, weird. Anyways, we can just move all this in then, that's fine. And that's going to give us 1 stack of the prudient stuff. And then we take that, we break it back down into the orange stuff. We take that into the blue. And we are going to need 3 more sets of that, pretty much, to get the 4 supremium that we need. And there we go. Nice. Okay, so the recipe is the same exact one that we just did for the first initial crystal here, but at least this one is going to be unbreakable. So I am going to use up this one completely. Might as well, since we don't really have a use for it anymore. And what we can start doing is we can take out the seed that is currently in here, and we can level it up through one of the other things here, which if I can find it, it is going to be this stuff right here. So we can surround the seed with 8 of the green essence, and then we can do it again with the orange one, the blue one, the red one, and if we want to, we can also do the purple one. Now, I think all this does is actually level up the output of this essence. I don't think it changes the essence output here, but all we got to do is take this, take it, and there we go. We have a tier 2 seed now, and when this processes through, we can see if it's going to go into the drawer or if it's going to just hang out here because it's outputting this stuff, which I don't think it's going to do. And there we go. It immediately spit out 2 of these things instead of, I believe, the single one. So I'm going to level this a couple times. I don't know if we're going to go all the way to purple, but we'll go as far as we can with what we have in our inventory right now. Well, with all that essence, we were only able to get it up to tier 4, which is the blue seed. So we need a little bit more supremium to get it up to 5, and then we're going to need a lot more essence to get it up to tier 6. So I'm going to let this run for a little bit, build up some more of the essence, and eventually here we'll level it up the last 2 times here. Alrighty, well, I'm currently increasing the production of our inferium essence because we are going to need a lot of this moving forward. So what I want to do is actually try and make our way, probably not today, but I want to try and do the ritual to summon Sevatus. So hopefully by next episode or potentially the following episode, we are going to be wrapping up the series, but in order to do the ritual, we are going to need 4 ultimate ingots and 2 ultimate singularities. And as far as the ultimate ingots go, those are not really an issue. It's just a whole bunch of ingots to get them crafted. So probably the most time-consuming ones are going to be the Galgadorian stuff, because I don't remember if we can trade for that or not, but according to the thing here, we can't. So we're going to have to get those things put together, but it's not super horrible. It's 4 ingots of everything here, so not the worst thing. The problem comes in with these singularities. We only need 2 of these, but each one of these singularities is 10,000 of the items that it wants. And one of the things I'm not sure on is whether or not we also need 10,000 of the catalyst as well. I'm hoping that's not the case, but if we do, then that is going to be kind of expensive as well, because we need a whole bunch of emeralds, a whole lot of the black quartz iron stuff. So that could be a very, very time-consuming thing. So what I want to try and do right now, as we have all this stuff growing, is head on over to our astral sorcery thing, because there is a ritual that we can use to increase the growth time. Now, I don't know if it's going to work inside of the cloches. I'm kind of hoping that it does. So we're going to throw together one of the ritual pedestals, which is this guy right here. And we are also going to be taking one of our crystals, which I think is going to be this one. I'm not exactly sure. We're going to have to break them and see, but we want the one that is tied to our Avitus one, because this is going to allow us to increase the growth time for crops around the area. And I don't exactly know how big of an area this is going to be. This is my first time messing with the ritual stuff, so I'm hoping that it's a decent size area. If we need to, I can make more of these as well and just have them farming up big areas with the cloches if it does work with them. So we are going to need 9 buckets for the starlights so that I'm not leaving any here. And let me just break this real quick and make sure that it's actually the one that we want. And it sure is. Okay, great. So let me get all this stuff going, and then we can set it up over by our cloches and see if this is actually going to do what I'm really hoping it's going to do. Okay, well, I set up everything over here by our cloches, and I thought we were good to go, but it turns out we have one more step here. I thought all we had to do was link this guy to the ritual thing, and then it would run the ritual that we wanted it to run. But it turns out we actually need one more of these guys. I don't know if it'll work with the full-on celestial crystal. I don't know if I really want to waste my time making one of those, but we need to link another crystal to the same star constellation that we have that one linked to, and then it'll run the ritual itself. So right now we have a couple of the rock crystals almost at 100%, which is what we are going to aim for. So it shouldn't take too long to get another one of those things put together, and then we can hopefully see if that is actually going to speed up the growth over here, or if I am just wasting my time trying to get this thing up and running. But we have enough of the essence now. We can probably level up the last 2 of these to tier 4, and then start leveling them up one by one to tier 5, and hopefully over time here, we can start chipping away at the essence required to start making the items that we also want to start producing out of this stuff as well. Well, it turns out I was simply just wasting my time here. So this ritual is supposed to make the crops on the ground grow quicker. So if we were to harvest this thing and then place it back down, it should grow a little bit quicker than just leaving it out on the grass. And the reason that we have a tier 6 one sitting on the ground right now and not in one of our cloches is because you can't grow the tier 6 crop in the cloche for some reason. I don't know why that's the case, but we can't do it, so that's why it's there. Anyways, though, this was a complete waste of time, like I said. This ritual doesn't do anything to the cloches. Even if we check it with this thing, it's going to be within range, but it has absolutely no effect on the cloches. There is also another ritual that we could have done had I gone further in Astral Sorcery. There's one that is like an hourglass or something like that. I honestly don't know what the shape of the constellation is, but I went ahead and loaded into a creative world and cheated in all of that stuff just to see if that was going to be something that I even wanted to work toward, because any speed increase on these guys would have been great, but that also does not work. I had the cloches set up right within the zone of the ritual, and I had some outside of the zone of the ritual, and they were both outputting the same exact amount of crops. There was nothing going on quicker, so there is no way, as far as I'm aware, to speed up these cloches. We could potentially put in fertilizer, but I don't know if that really does anything, to be honest. So maybe it's worth doing, maybe it's not. But yeah, we are just going to have these things running. We had the game running for probably like 12 plus hours. We have a whole lot of essence built up. I've already mushed it all down with our crystal, so it's all in our storage over in our base. But what we're going to be doing to finish off today's episode is actually trying to see if we have all of the resources to build out at least one, if not all 4 of these ultimate ingots. I already know that we don't, because we don't have any of the Steve's Cart metals or the octine, so we're going to be short on those at least, as well as the mystical agriculture stuff. But I'm going to very quickly take all of this stuff out, put it in this chest so I know what I'm missing. I even have a clipboard with all of these stuff listed here so I know what I need to go farm for. And then once I'm done with that, we are either going to set up some of the crops for the stuff that we're currently missing. We're going to need crops for everything, because again, we're going to need, I think, 20,000 or 40,000, whatever it was, for the singularities. So we have to set these up regardless, but I'm going to try and set up the ones that we're missing if we can even set those up. and that way I don't have to actually go back and farm in those dimensions. So give me 2 seconds here. I'm going to get all this stuff into that chest, and then we can go from there. Alrighty, well, we are indeed missing quite a few ingots, but we can craft up a couple that we've done in the past. So this is going to be one of the Ender Alloy basics. We're just one short from being able to put it into our table, so there's that done. And then we can also throw this one in there. That should also give us, I think, another 4 of the enhanced ones. So there's those ones done. And for the final one, oh, I need another Eye of Ender, which I thought I grabbed, but I did not. Okay, so let me grab all of this. We already have 2 of these things crafted, so that's great. We also have the HOP Graphite Dust, which is also one of the ingots that we need. So all we did for this was ground down some of the coke, and we squished it down in our squisher thingy, and all we got to do now, I believe, is smelt it into an actual ingot. So while that's going, I'm going to go grab an Eye of Ender real quick so we can get the other 2 Ender Alloy ingots put together as well. Alrighty, well, there's another 4 ingots down from the list that we need. So let me plop all of these guys in there. We're going to do 1 more ingot, which is going to be the glowstone ingot, and then everything else is just going to be quite a grind and a half to get going here. So over here, we have that thing done. Cool. We are going to need a new machine, which is this guy right here, and to get that going we need to surround it a little bit with that. So let's do one of those, get that made. We have the other stuff already just about ready to go, so let's get one of those, and we should be able to shift click that into reality. Great. And all we got to do for the glowstone here is to plop one of these guys in there. That gives us exactly 200. Okay, and is that going to be all 200 per ingot? Because that's fine if it is. It sure is. Okay, so let me plop those in there. We're going to get 4 of those ingots put together, and that is our last one that we can really kind of do today. If we take a look at this again, everything else is going to be the mystical agriculture, which I'm a little concerned on because we are going to need a lot of prosperity shards. So with some real dicey quick math here, I think I'm going to need about a stack of the basic essence ones, either a stack or like 48. I don't honestly know. I didn't want to sit here and count this all out, but we're going to need the base one, and then we're going to have to level that up into the Inferium one, which isn't horrible because all it requires is 2 of the dust per ingot here. And then we're going to have to rinse and repeat that over and over and over again until we get all the way up into the purple one. So that is going to be kind of annoying. The solarium stuff, we can probably get up today actually as well. If I could find the correct recipe. Here we go. This stuff we mix together with the green essence, but to get the soul essence here, we need one of these guys, which is stone and soul sand mixed together. So we are going to do that right now as well because that is fairly cheap. We only need 4 of these guys. And what do we do with this? We just grind it down into dust? Nope, that's typing into my storage thing. I didn't want to do that. We take this and we smelt it. Okay, so let me set that in motion here in 2 seconds. This should have been done, but it's not, so let's just waste another osmium ingot, sure. But there we go, that is our 4 glowstone ingots done. Let me check that off our list. I went ahead and crafted up a little bit more of the dust here because it's a 5-to-1, so we're going to need 4 of the ingots as well as an extra 2 for the solium dagger because that is how we get our hands on mob chunks. So we're going to need some of those here in a minute, but right now we can go ahead and craft up the dust that we need. So let's take our orange stuff, break that down into the green, and then we should be able to do one of those, hopefully. That's only going to give us 2. Dang it. Okay. We have the other stuff we can break right back down. That's fine. Let me do that. That should hopefully be enough now. And it was indeed. Okay, cool. So we got 9 of that. We're going to smelt that down. All right, well, there's our solium stuff. So now that we have that, we can plop the 4 of them over here, which I just did a big dum-dum there, didn't I? I did not need that much. I needed 4 and then 2. And I made 9 of them. So, oopsie daisy, but there we go. Nonetheless, we got that done. So it's 2 under the steel here, so boop, and there we go, cool. Alrighty, well now that we have the solium crafted, we can make the dagger, but we need one of the mystical sticks to do this. So to do that, we need 4 prosperity shards, and I can't currently craft those because I don't have any gas tiers. So I think what I'm going to be doing in between episodes is farming up all of the items required to make as many of these Eyes of Galgador we can, because right now we are going to be tearing through a lot of prosperity prosperity shards. Every one of the crops that we're going to set up and automate requires 4 of them, and all of the ingots that we need for the ultimate ingot are also going to require 4 of them. So I'm hoping that all of the ore that we have right now is going to be enough to get all that going, because it's 4 per, so that's like 4 stacks there, and then what is that, like another stack or something with that little 12 there. So we'll kind of see. If I need to go back to those planets and farm, then I will. It's not really that big of a problem, but the grinding of the ghast and the spiders and all that is what's going to take a little while here. So hopefully by next episode we can potentially set up some plants to automate these things as well, because if I can get this thing completely automated, I can plug it into the system and then eventually build out the auto crafter for this mod and have it just spitting all the stuff over there, crafting it, pulling it over and over and over again. That way we are completely hands-off. We also have the option, if we really wanted to, which I really don't, we could go all the way to Kepler 22b. So if we click on this guy, we can see that we can click that, or we can take this, which is copper ore from that planet, and bring it back, shoot it with some star power, and it turns into prosperity shards that then can get smelted or crushed down into 4 themselves. So that is one way of shortening the grind if we wanted to do that, but the whole building out the rocket over and over and over again is just going to take probably as long as just doing it this way that we're going to be doing it. So I'm going to be in the nether killing a bunch of gas. Hopefully I'm able to level this thing up again. Oh, we're quite a ways out, but maybe I'm able to level it up, throw looting on this thing so that way I'm getting more of the shards, because I rarely use this thing anymore. So yeah, that is what my next couple of days are going to be, grinding that stuff up. I'm going to be crafting the prosperity shards as I'm able to. That way we can kind of hit the ground running next episode, get a bunch of cloches down. I have a bunch of them made already. I have an idea on a building size that if we want to go to the extreme, I can fit almost 1,400 cloches in there to be just producing a stupid amount of crops. It's probably not the best thing for lag, but we can do that if we need to. That way we can just hammer out a bunch of stuff. But yeah, that is going to be for next episode if we do want to go to the extremes here. I don't really think we need to, because we only need 20 to 40,000 of the ingots and stuff. So it's maybe not going to come to that. But anyways, that is going to be it for today's episode. Next episode, we are hopefully going to get our dagger as well as a couple of the essence crops put together. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed as always, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.